this lesson we're going to be practicing our disengagement in foil. Now, oftentimes the major mistake that we make when we're doing a disengagement is that we exaggerate the movement. That is, we make it larger than it has to be. This is usually due to anxiety or uncertainty in how to do the action. So oftentimes we compensate by making a very large animated disengagement. We're doing this because we're trying to avoid the parry, and we feel if we make a larger disengagement we get further away from the parry, and that allows us to finish our action. When in reality, a large exaggerated disengagement makes it slower and a lot more visible to our opponent, who is going to be able to recover more quickly than we can actually finish in that line. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working on shrinking, making our disengagement smaller, sharper, and more effective. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do is warm up. Now, oftentimes we go into a disengagement, our wrist might not be warm or we can't feel the action with our fingers, so we really want to warm up, exercise, get all of that loosened up so when we actually try the action, it comes out nice, smooth, and sharp. So start making gradual circles. You're going to be using your wrist and fingers and thumb. You're just pushing the blade, making nice circles. They're large for now, and once you get comfortable with that, you're going to start shrinking them down, making them nice and sharp, and then you're going to rotate in the other direction, doing the exact same thing. Do this for about 30-40 seconds until you feel nice and relaxed in the wrist and fingers, and then we're going to be ready to get started with our exercises. We're going to start with a simple disengagement into one line, doing a sharp U-turn, just like that. You're going to go back and forth, continue until you feel comfortable in this action, and then you are going to extend your arm and finish with a lunge. In one line, you lunge out, you return back to on guard, and continue with those disengagements. Just keep it with the U, nice and sharp. And again, line, lunge, return back to on guard, and repeat. Now that we're warmed up, let's start looking at some exercises and practice some disengagements. Now, for our exercises, we need a target to be able to hit. We're not going to use anything like a ball that's tethered to a string to simulate disengagement against a parry. We're just going to essentially shadow fence. So if you have a target, anything will do. If you mount something against the wall, that'll be fine. Our disengagements are going to start in 3 basic patterns. We're going to do a single disengagement, a double disengagement, and a triple disengagement. Let's get started. For our first series of exercises, let's make sure that we're standing in an on-guard position where we can strike the target with a line. We don't want to have to step in, and we don't have to want to lunge. From this on-guard position, we're going to do a single disengagement. We're going to move from 4 to 6, extend the arm, return back to on guard, from 6 to 4, and extend the arm. Repeat this for 30 seconds or until you feel comfortable with the action. For our second exercise, we are going to do a step in, single disengagement, return back to on guard, and repeat again for 30 seconds. So it's going to be line, disengage, step in, return back to on guard, line in 6, disengage, finish in 4, return back to on guard. For our third exercise, we are going to do a lunge, single disengagement from 4 into 6, where we're going to hit, and then return back to on guard and repeat for 30 seconds. So essentially it looks a little bit like this. You're going to start with a line, disengage, lunge, return back to on guard, line into 6, disengage, lunge into 4, return back to on guard. For our fourth exercise, we are going to do a double disengagement from the first distance. So you're going to go 1, 2, and finish on the second one, return back to on guard. Repeat this for 30 seconds. For our fifth exercise, we are going to do a step in, double disengagement. Start with line, 1, 2, return back to on guard, and repeat for 30 seconds. For our sixth exercise, we're going to do this with a lunge, double disengagement. Start with line, 1, 2, return back to on guard, line, 1, 2, return back to on guard, and repeat. For our seventh exercise, we are going to do 3 disengagements from the first distance. 1, 2, 3, and hit, return back to on guard. Repeat this for 30 seconds. For our eighth exercise, we are going to do 3 disengagements from the second distance. Line, 1, 2, 3, and return back to on guard. And repeat for 30 seconds. For our ninth exercise, we are going to do a lunge with 3 disengagements. Start with a line, 1, 2, 3, lunge, return back to on guard. Again, line, 1, 2, 3, lunge, and repeat for 30 seconds. In addition to those 9 exercises, there's one more I want to explore with you. It's not a traditional disengagement in the normal sense, but it is still essentially a disengagement. What it is a broken time attack, which is, in foil terms, where your arm is not following the action of the attack. For example, when you are extending your arm in a lunge, this is a continual attack. This is pretty common. A broken time attack is where the arm is held back while you're lunging out, only to be extended when you're about to land. Let's have a look. Now again, if we look at that, when you're lunging, you step out and you pull your arm back, only to extend when you're about to lunge. The reason why we do this is because as you're lunging forward, if your arm is moving forward in the conventional sense, your blade is vulnerable to a parry. Now yes, you can disengage in the lunge, but it is difficult. So instead, when you're lunging forward and you're anticipating being parried, you're going to pull your arm back, the parry will pass, won't find you, and then you extend your arm. And it can be very surprising. Let's look at an exercise using this attack. For 30 seconds, repeat the broken time attack, lunging and recovering back. Now, if those exercises feel pretty simple after enough practice, you can start to change them up a little bit. Instead of doing the disengagement from a static position, try it from a fluid action where you have started the attack and you're disengaging into it. So again, remember, you can do it from a static position, or if you're standing in a fluid position, you are disengaging as you are attacking. So in a step, you can disengage, or in a lunge, you can disengage. You can do all of these to make it more challenging. And of course, don't hesitate to mix up the action. You can throw in a number of different disengagements into it. Instead of just doing a single one or a double, you can do a single followed by a triple and then do it as a double, just so you can keep it fresh and continue to challenge yourself. Good luck. For this lesson, we're going to be practicing our disengagement in foil. Dogs are barking. Trucks are driving. Now, it's easy. Hi, Piper. Do you want to go inside? No, 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 no. Oftentimes, it's easy to make very simple mistakes when doing a disengagement in foil. And they're usually due to anxiety or a sense of uncertainty in how to do the action. Oftentimes, how many times did I say often? I think I said often a few times.